Hope you guys are having a blessed day. God bless. I just want to kind of hop on here and talk about gaming addiction because it's something that can really lead you away from God, and it's led me away from God, and it's really affected my personal relationship with God. And I just kind of want to talk about it and warn you guys about the dangers of it and pretend obviously the good of video games, because you can see my channel is a living example. We're using video games to grow a community of believers, and I'm trying to spread the gospel in here and get the good news out using video games. So I just want to kind of talk about it, talk about my personal experience, the good and the bad of video games, and kind of what to be careful of, because I've had a gaming addiction. So let's get into it. Hey guys, I'm on the outskirts of FaithShare, and I want to be talking about my personal experience with gaming addiction and how it led me away from God. I always had a passion for video games, but it was never something that I would play constantly. But starting around middle school, it definitely took off. And I was playing like 8 to 10 hours a day, especially in the summer, and staying up to like 2 or 4 o'clock in the morning with my friends. It was bad. Little did I know I was playing my identity in video games. It was a way for me to escape from reality. It was a way for me, kind of as a coping mechanism. I'd use video games to escape from my responsibilities, escape from this world and the truth. Obviously I didn't have a personal relationship with God at the time, because I was playing my identity in video games. I was spending all my time in video games. And when I really started taking my faith seriously, God convicted me of this. I remember it was like 3-4 o'clock in the morning. I just finished a session with my friends, and I was sitting on my bed staring at the floor, and I was just like, what am I doing with my life? And I was just praying. I was like, yo God, this needs to change, like it was bad. I remember saying to God, I was just like, I'm done with this. I'm done with letting video games control my life. I'm done with this. And obviously it wasn't an overnight situation where I was just like, I'm sick of this. This was multiple nights where I'm just grinding video games, even though I was like, oh, one more game. That turned into 5 more games. You know how it goes. And I was just sick of it. Because, when you're looking after the things of heaven and the things of the spirit, you're going to turn away from these worldly things. You're going to turn away from these worldly addictions, and you're going to kind of realize what's really important in this world. I really had to think about what's really important in this life. My 8 to 10 hour gaming sessions, which is temporary and only leads to pain and suffering, or a relationship with the eternal God, who's all loving, all knowing, all powerful. I can have a personal relationship with him. I didn't realize that at the time. But when you're truly starting to walk with God, you realize what's truly important in this world. And that's kind of what God convicted me of, is this crazy amount of time I was putting into video games. And he helped me to change from that. I was just like, I was fed up. I was just like, I'm done. I'm taking a month, 2-week break or whatever it was. I took that break, and God transformed me through that. Just sitting there, instead of playing video games, staying away from the distractions of this world, and truly thinking about the most important thing that truly matters is a relationship with God. He broke this chain that I was bound to, called video games. I was bound to this thing that I was really idolizing. I didn't realize it, but I was idolizing. I was putting in so much time and so much thought into it, and I wasn't thinking about God, especially when I wasn't playing. It's like I was a different person, I feel like, what is this wandering villager doing, bro? Yeah, God transformed me through that 2 weeks of just giving it up, and he really helped me to find out what's important in this life. And I feel like then and there is when I truly was like, I'm taking my faith to the next level. So yeah, that's kind of my personal experience with gaming addiction, and kind of how God set me free from that. And, just how powerful the stronghold of addiction can be, especially in this day and age with video games, something that doesn't seem very bad. Drugs and alcohol end up killing you, but video games it's a slowing mental death. That's the best way I could put it. But let's kind of talk about on a better note, with the good from video games. Alright, if you guys don't know where we are, we're on one of the roads of Hills of Prosperity. If you don't know, my base is right behind us. It's a big work in progress. It's not complete at all. I've been way too busy to work on it. But pretty much, I just wanted to kind of talk about the good out of video games, because I was just bashing on it completely. But video games can be good. Obviously, in this standard, I'm using video games to preach the gospel and to grow a Christian community. But yeah, as video games can be good, it's creating a community, talking to people, stuff like that, you gotta be careful, out here. You guys probably hear that from your parents, or you've probably heard it from thousands of people. But be careful, truly. As Christians, we should be seeing how much time we're putting into something, what we're really intaking with our eyes and our ears, and what's going into our spirit, and living in our thoughts and living in our minds. Truly be wary of what we're doing. Because, you might say, oh, this is just a video game, this isn't real life. I used to say the same thing. Because we ultimately have to be careful what's going into our eyes and ears, into our soul, into our mind, into our spirit. Because video games, I've been around, you know what I'm saying? Like, video games, there's some really bad video games that Christians should not be playing, and that's a whole nother topic. I've thought about doing like tier lists of video games that Christians should play and probably should avoid. That's just an idea. If you guys want to see it, let me know, because that sounds pretty fun. But yeah, ultimately, be careful what you're watching. Be careful of what you're putting in. Be careful of how much time you're playing and what you're playing. All right, as we're concluding this, I just want you guys to know, just be careful of how much time you're putting in. Be careful of what you're watching. Be careful of what you're seeing. And I just pray, even with this community of Christians, it's still a good thing. But watch how much time you're putting into my server. You know what I'm saying? I would rather have you guys have an incredible relationship with God and spend hours in prayer and hours in the Word of God than being on my server. Please go spend time with God. If you're playing way too much, go spend time with God. I just pray that you guys watch how much time you put in to video games and what you're kind of playing, because it ruined me. It really distracted me from my purpose, from having a relationship with God. And as somebody who can relate to the distraction of video games and distraction of electronics and what this world has to offer, I just pray that you be careful. Watch what you're doing. Watch what you're seeing. And ultimately, video games are a good thing and can be a good thing, and it's a blessing at sometimes, but it can also be very dangerous if we let it get out of hand. I just pray that that doesn't happen to you like it happened to me. I pray that you guys stay strong in the faith, get into the Word of God, get into prayer. You know what I'm saying? And if you notice that you are starting to have a gaming addiction and you are starting to really prioritize your time in video games rather than spending time with God, be careful of how much time you put in ultimately. And if you guys do, go seek Jesus. Go seek Jesus and ask him to help you with this, because, I've tried fighting sins off and addictions off myself, and you can't alone. You need Jesus, bro. God bless. Stay healthy. Be careful.